In antiquity, fasting was not merely a practical means of abstaining from food. It was a multifaceted practice, deeply intertwined with beliefs about mental clarity and overall well-being. Across diverse ancient cultures, spanning from the Mediterranean to the Indian subcontinent, fasting was revered not just for its purported physical benefits, but also for its profound impacts on mental acuity, emotional balance, and spiritual enlightenment. This is not a new fad. Societies all over the world have incorporated fasting for various reasons for thousands of years. Before we delve into voluntary fasting, let's take a look at our distant ancestors. Before the innovation of agriculture, humans relied on hunting and foraging. Tens of thousands of years ago, there wasn't constant access to food, so eating 3 meals a day was pretty much impossible. One could argue that this pattern of fast and feast was worked into our evolution, possibly explaining why it's so beneficial. This topic could be a video in and of itself, but I'm going to focus on societies after the agricultural revolution when food was much more abundant. Many people still decided to willingly abstain from food due to the benefits it provided. In ancient Greece, fasting held a prominent place in philosophical discourse and medical traditions alike. Pythagoras, regarded as one of the most influential mathematicians and philosophers of ancient times, tirelessly attempted to enroll in Egyptian schools in his early adulthood. He was finally given a chance to become a student, but under one condition: he had to fast for 40 days. Upon accomplishing the feat, he said, "You are not allowing Pythagoras in. I am a different man. I am reborn. Through this purification, my center of being has changed." Pythagoras believed that fasting gave him more lucidity and physical strength and required all of his students to fast. He is just one example in a long list of historical figures who attested to fasting. Plato, another well-known figure in ancient Greece, claimed that fasting was medicinal. He is quoted saying, "I fast for greater physical and mental efficiency." His student Aristotle was also known to fast. Meanwhile, Hippocrates, often hailed as the father of Western medicine, prescribed fasting as a therapeutic tool for treating various ailments, recognizing its ability to rebalance bodily humors and promote overall health. He said, "The natural healing force within each one of us is the greatest force in getting well. To eat when you are sick is to feed your sickness." Plutarch, who thoroughly documented ancient Greece and Rome, claimed, "Instead of using medicine, better fast today. Next time someone calls you crazy for fasting, ask them how crazy these guys were." Many ancient Egyptians were known to fast for 30 days per year, feeling it would help them uphold their morals and provide the spirit with self-control. They saw it as a form of restraint that could carry over to other aspects of their lives. In ancient India, fasting was integral to spiritual practices such as yoga, meditation, and Ayurveda. Yogic texts, like the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, emphasized fasting as a means of purifying the body, calming the mind, and cultivating spiritual awareness. The word for fasting in Sanskrit is upavasa. Upa means near, plus vasa means to stay. This could be interpreted as staying near the Lord. In Hinduism and Jainism, fasting played a central role in religious observances and rituals, symbolizing self-discipline, devotion, and spiritual purification. In ancient India, if someone was in debt, they could fast in front of their debtor to pay it off. Many Indians still fast today during special occasions. Fasting was seen across many other cultures. The Taita and Santhal of Africa have an interesting tradition of fasting before marriage. Native Americans ate whenever they felt the urge, as opposed to eating standard meals. They also fasted as a prayer for success, before an upcoming war or hunt. Cherokee priests described the endeavor as a means to spiritualize the human nature and quicken the spiritual vision by abstinence from earthly food. Further south, in the Incan Empire of Peru, fasting was seen as a way to atone for one's sins. Celtic and pagan societies even used fasting as a legal means to address grievances, believing that ignoring a faster would result in supernatural penalties. In the Middle Ages, long fasts were highly valued by the Church and were even a requirement to become a saint. During the Renaissance, Paracelsus, known as the father of toxicology, was quoted saying, Fasting is the greatest remedy, the physician within. Mark Twain claimed, "A little starvation can really do more for the average sick man than can the best medicines and the best doctors." Ben Franklin had similar advice. The best of all medicines are resting and fasting. Many religions incorporate fasting for spiritual purposes. In Christianity, there are notable fasts during Advent and Lent. Christians believe that fasting elevates the spirit closer to God. To quote Luke 4:24, "Where for 40 days he was tempted by the devil. He ate nothing during those days, and at the end of them he was hungry. The devil said to him, 'If you are the Son of God, tell this stone to become bread.' Jesus answered, 'It is written, man shall not live on bread alone.'" In Judaism, a full day of fasting is expected on Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av, with other fasts depending on the specific Jewish community. Muslims fast while the sun is up during the month of Ramadan, with the Quran stating, "To fast is best for you, if only you knew." 2:184. Hindus believe that fasting cleanses the body and mind, with fasts such as Ekadashi and ones in honor of Shiva. Buddhism also incorporates fasting, with the Buddha recommending not to eat after noon, later changed by Theravada Buddhists to 1 meal a day. Mahayana Buddhists conducted several 3- or 6-day fasts. Fasting was even used by Taoists in ancient China and India as the first step towards immortality, believing that instead of eating food that gets converted to waste, they would absorb spiritual energy. Fasting has also been a powerful tool for protest. Gandhi was a big advocate of fasting, enduring 17 hunger strikes to protest British colonialism, saying, "You can chain me, you can torture me, you can even destroy this body, but you will never imprison my mind." Members of the Irish Republican Army used hunger strikes to protest British colonialism, with Terence McSwiney and Joseph Murphy fasting for over 70 days to their deaths in 1920. Dissidents of the Cuban communist regime, such as Guillermo Fariñas, used fasting to protest, successfully bringing about better medical attention and family proximity for prisoners. Hunger strikes have also been used by Turkish and Palestinian prisoners and California prisoners in 2013 to protest solitary confinement, with 29,000 inmates participating. So while many people might tell you that you're starving yourself when fasting, history is on your side. Voluntary abstinence from food has been used for health, spiritual purposes, and as a protest tool for thousands of years. It's obvious that many ancient people saw fasting as a practice of good health, and not the opposite. Perhaps fasting has been demonized by large corporations to profit off the food and medication they produce. Next time someone tells you that you're starving yourself when you're fasting, show them this video.